Hey everybody, my name's Kevin. I'm the first year instructor here at the auto department at Hibbing Community College. A couple things about the automotive industry. It's a good time to be out there looking for a job. I have several students this year that are working in shops, even in first year. Several of our second year students have been hired at shops on a part-time basis even before they graduate. So it's really a good time to be out there looking for a job. The industry is transitioned a little bit in the last several years, where you could kind of stay in the area that you enjoy to live if you like to live in the Northland. Certainly there's always jobs available if you travel to more metro areas, but it's kind of nice to be able to have that option to stay home. A couple of reasons that is, number one, the average age of vehicles on the road is older than it's ever been. So that makes a difference on how many cars are on the road and how much they need to be repaired. So that's good for us because that's what we get paid to do, is fix cars. Number two, the manufacturers have recalled more vehicles the last several years. A recall is when a manufacturer is ordered by the government to fix something for free. And with technology going crazy, there's been a lot of recalls that have come out in the last few years. Every year for the last several, we've broken records as far as the number of cars that have had recalls done to them. You may own a car or have a car in your family that has had an airbag recall recently. One of the largest recalls ever, and Takata makes airbags for all kinds of different vehicle manufacturers. So that's great for us because we're the ones that have to get paid to fix them. So that makes a difference. Americans drive more miles than we ever have before. We have more licensed vehicles on the road than we've ever had before. So all those things together, as well as an aging technician workforce, has made it a little bit desperate out there for shops to find good technicians. So there's a lot of people out there working on cars that maybe even haven't gone to school or maybe even shouldn't be working on cars. So when you graduate from school, hopefully you have enough knowledge to go out there and really shine and do a good job. So a couple of things about what our students do. We do make an investment in tools. So technicians buy their own tools. They can buy them at a steep discount through tool vendors. We have a tool show at the beginning of the year, so they can kind of get a look and feel of different brands of tools. And you can choose to buy whatever you want, or if you want to bring in your grandpa's old set of tools, that's fine too. But at some point you're going to invest in your own tools, and the nice part about that is your tools go with you wherever you go. So that part's kind of nice, and you get to take care of them and all that kind of stuff. So you kind of buy what you can afford while you're in school, and you're never really done buying tools. At some point you kind of have everything you need, and then you buy something because it makes your repair job faster or whatever. So we talk a lot about that, and you kind of get what you can get. As far as technician pay or what you'd expect to get paid, technicians generally get paid on how fast they do repairs. Everything that we do has a assigned time value to it. So let's say you have a car that you're going to replace a radiator on, and you go to the computer and look it up, and the computer says that radiator job should pay 1 hour. Well, you're going to get paid for an hour no matter how long it takes you. So if you do it in 2 hours, you get paid for an hour, which generally when you're first starting out, it's going to take you a little bit longer. But as you gain some experience and maybe you buy a special tool that helps make that job faster, you do it in a half an hour and you get paid for an hour. So that's how technicians can really make their money. As far as kind of where you'd land in a year, in this area to start out, you'd probably be in that low to mid $30,000 range just starting out. If you're down in the metro, maybe a little bit higher. And once you have some experience under your belt, it shouldn't be a problem to be over 50 within a couple of years, 50,000 a year, and your hourly wage is going to vary depending on what type of a shop that you go to, whether it's a dealership and you're part of the union or an independent shop or those kinds of things. So those are all things to consider. Our top technicians in this area, we've had several technicians at dealerships on the Iron Range making $100,000. So you can certainly make good money, but you're not going to do it right out of the gate like any profession. You need to gain some experience, and that investment in tools helps you get there as well. So Some of the things that our students do, we have a 2-year program, of course, and we break that up so our students kind of get the basics of all the mechanical stuff out of the way in first year. We have students that come in with little to no experience whatsoever. We have students that come in that, you know, have kind of grown up working on cars with their parents or grandparents or aunts or uncles, whoever. So everybody kind of comes in with a different level, but we all go through the same classes, of course, and everybody comes in at a different level and leaves with a different level. I was somebody that grew up not working on cars, and so everything that I learned in school. And certainly your education never stops as technology changes. You have to continue to train. I still go to training classes every year and try to learn all the new stuff and keep up on technology, which is just going bananas right now. So once you get to second year, you do a lot more of the electrical diagnosis and things like that. Get into computer controls a lot more, scan tools and things of that nature. So we do a lot of work on actual vehicles. You know, sometimes you might see commercials on TV where students are working on all this fancy stuff, but we try to kind of get you in that area of things that you're going to see. So we try to get cars in here. A lot of times it's students' own vehicles that A, are, you know, need the work, and B, get some credit for working on it. But that's the kind of stuff that they're going to see when they get out there, especially kind of when you think about that average age of a vehicle on the road of being 14, 15 years. Not quite 15 yet, but 14. Kind of where we're going to land. If you go to a dealership and you're going to work on a lot more new vehicles, you're certainly going to do training for that manufacturer as well. We've just had some technicians hired at dealers, second-year students, that have already started doing their manufacturer-based training online while they're finishing up their schooling here and working part-time at the dealership. So it really never ends as far as training goes. But working on real cars and real problems really helps to kind of cement that in and get you some real world experience. And like I said, sometimes doing it on your own cars is nice as well, because you get to fix up your own vehicle. So something good to consider. One last thing that I'll leave you with is technicians have to be insured by the company that they work for. So every dealership or shop has their own auto insurance company, which are typically a little bit more strict than your homeowner's auto insurance or your personal auto insurance. So if you have a major ticket on your record, or you're out there, you know, hitting kids at the school bus stop, you're probably not going to get a job. So they got to insure you. So make sure that you keep your driving record nice and clean, you know, so it doesn't prevent you from getting a job out there. But something to consider. You can be out there working and making good money within 2 years. So think about the auto program. Good luck.
Well, I'm going to show you guys how to dismount and remount a tire. So you got to take all the wheel weights off, throw them on the ground, pick them up later. Bring her over here. You got to take the Schrader valve out. Let me sit here and wait for it. Give her a couple of squeezes. Still got quite a bit of air in her. And now we pop the bead. Shit, wrong lever. Both sides of the bead, by the way. And then you grab it, put it up here, and then you squeeze the rim. And you grab this fancy doohickey. You put it right there. Then you spin it. And then you gotta clean the bead. Put some bead sealer on it, wherever that went. There it is. Yeah, I suppose I'm gonna need some snips. Oops, don't do that. Kevin, where'd you go? There you are. Make sure you're not running away from me. Thanks, man. Put a new valve stem in it. Don't do that. Take the trader valve out. Set it right there. Lube it up a little bit. Slides in easier. Bam. Just like that. Make sure it's on there the right way, because these are directional. Running out of lube, gotta go fast. And then stick it on. Wow. Fill it up there. Put the valve stem cap back on. Dismount and mount a new tire.
I'm gonna show you how to balance a tire. The guy before me put the tire on the rim. So first off, you gotta find the right cone. That's not right, it doesn't fit in there. Want to fit nice and snug, like that one. Put that on your balancer, then the tire slides on. Then this cool thing tightens the tire on. You come here, the instructor knows a really cool way to get it tight, but I don't know it. So that's tight. So now we got to measure the tires. So all you do is you grab this, you'll measure the rim size, all that good jazz. Hit the brake once, and then gives you all your measurements there. So now put the hood down, and it's going to ask for inflation, so we better check that. So you say yes. Tires are good. Send it down again. Then it'll spin it. It'll measure the road force, which is the stiffness of the tire. It'll take a bit. Seats the bead too. That'll scare you every time. So we gotta put half an ounce on each side, which was wrong. Last time we did it, false, whatever. The rehearsal did not work that good. So you just pound the weight on, then you grab another weight, and these are MC weights. You use this fancy thing, fits right in the rim, just so they stick on better. Then you hit this thing, or start, and it spins the tire to the exact point you need again. Hammer it on. Then let it spin again. And this is just checking the balance, none of the other good stuff. You get zeros, you're done.
We are recording. Okay, so how's it going? We're here at the HCC second year program. My name is Richie. I am in the current class of ignition, computers, and what we have here is we have your typical 2006 Ford Crown Vic, the 4.6 liter, and this is what we're going to look at on the lab scope. We're showing a typical 3-spark ignition diagram right here. So as you see, as the power comes on to the coil itself, you see a little bit of variation here where it goes over to the coil. You see the magnetic field disperse. As it disperses, the spark fires, jumps the gap. Here's your time where the spark is firing. Comes over into the dwell timing, which lets the magnetic field go ahead and build back up, and it goes right back into another spark. Typically, what you're going to see, I'm not familiar with the Ford systems, but like I said, there's a 3-spark diagram on this on our lab scope here. So if I were to rev up the engine, it goes from 3-spark to a single, right around 18.5, almost 1900 RPMs. It's pretty interesting that it goes down, so it gives you a more simple explanation. As you can see, there's your oscillation, goes over, builds up the magnetic field, shuts down that magnetic field, sparks the spark plug, goes and gives a fire. That way you can hear the ignition kick in, setting that combustion. So it's really interesting, you know. As you can see, the advanced snap-on tablets and everything else to actually get a more in-depth look on how the ignition system works with different vehicles. I'm more familiar with GM myself, but I mean, this is where we learn the basics of everything. You know, you can't just be familiar with one system. You look at all systems and you get a better understanding of how everything works. It's a great program. Thanks.